Um, well, we are welcoming. This is our second conference with Barbara Hall. Most of you already know Barbara. She is a professor, and she is working here in Uruguay. This is her second time in Uruguay. She has had the possibility of traveling, I think, all over the country, visiting schools, high schools, etc. So by now she knows quite well our students, our teachers, and she has this great idea of um, inviting some godparents to share experiences and some ideas. So this is what it's going to be about, but Barbara is going to tell us a bit more. Thank you, Barbara, for being here. Thank you, the four panelists, to share experiences with us.
Thank you, Laura, and I'm very excited to be here with this panel, and I am just serving as a facilitator. I have been traveling around, but certainly there are so many things to learn about this project, and I really feel like the panelists that are speaking today are the real experts. Now, the focus of it is best practices. So what do we mean by best practices? Well, it can include any of the following components: creating a supportive environment, using visual aids, focusing on communication, differentiating instruction for diverse needs, and we certainly see that in the rural environment. Some of the key strategies involved in best practices involve clear and simple language, pre-teaching vocabulary, incorporating engaging activities like games and role-playing. And I think we're going to see demonstrations of that from all of the panelists. I have the pleasure of presenting these four godparents, each of whom in their own way illustrate these best practices in the English language program. I will give an overview of the panelists right now. They will be speaking for 8 minutes, and we will follow that up with a 2-minute question and answer session. And it's very short, I know, but other questions, of course, you can put in the chat, and we can leave them for a later response. So in order of the presentations, first, we have Marianela Guillarte from Panama. She teaches in rural school number 83 in Colonia, and she will be speaking on the challenges of multi-level learning. Our next panelist, also in the area of Colonia, Jimena Strauski, is hailing from Frankfurt, Germany today. She has 9 groups of students, all in the area of Colonia. She has groups 78, 28, 84, 122, 71, 75, 41, 68, 70, 9 groups total. And she is going to talk about how technology can help with classroom management. Our third speaker is Mercedes Sagüez from Cape Town, South Africa. She is the godparent for rural school number 85 in Las Flores. And she is going to talk about 3 strategies that worked for us. And finally, Mario Rivera Hugues from Montreal, Canada, who I understand is also making a move to France and showing us how godparents can move across continents and still participate in this program. He is from rural school. He works with rural school number 85, located in Punta de San Gabriel in the Department of Florida. and his topic is student-centric learning. So I'd like to open this up now to Marianela, our first speaker.
Good morning. As Barbara says, I'm Marianela. I am in Panama. I want to just do the icebreaker. Who we are? I think we are not, the majority of us here, we are not teachers, like educated teachers, that we didn't go to school to teach English. Even some of us, we have the degree to teach English, but we didn't go to school to do that. But who we are, we're not teachers, but we have the best disposition for not just for the kids to have fun, or not just to meet kids in the other side of the screen, or for them to join our classes. I think our goal is for them to learn English, right? Because they're in rural areas where they didn't have access to go to private institutes or do like an after-school program or go to private classes to learn English. So we are here to support them in that way, to be that person, that private school, that after-school program, that private English class. So starting from that, we face many challenges because we are in the other side of the screen, and we are, many of us, far away. We don't even know the kids that we are working with. We just have like the connection with this program and the connection with the amazing teachers that help us. And we try to help them, because if not, it's gonna be more workload for them. So one of the challenges that I want to talk, and it's the challenge that we all face, is the challenge of teaching multi-level students. Why I'm saying this? Because we have different students, right? We have kids today we have many kids with special needs. We have kids, like I call them the early birds, because they are the beginners. They are just starting to learn the language. And we also have the pilots, like the kids who know more than us, right? They are the teachers in the class, and they are the amazing kids who help us teach the early birds, like the beginning kids. So starting from that, I am thinking, what are the three keys for me, or the three things that we need to accomplish to work with kids in multi-level learning? Like when we cannot say these are first grade English learners, or these are advanced English learners, or mid-English learners. We cannot say that. So the three things that I want to accomplish is to check my ABC. And if there is something that I want you to remind, is the ABC. Remind the ABC. A for all students, or all English. So all students, because we want all students to learn. It's in many of the classes, you go to a class and there's a group of kids who they really like the language and they will learn. And we have some kids that they are not interested in this, and they are in class just because there's a class at a school, not because they will pick that class, right? So our challenge is like, all my students learning? I need to teach English to all the kids. The challenge is that all kids will learn. The B is for boost their skills. So boost their skills is like, there are many kids who they have this different skills, and we need to boost them. It's like for them, playing games is very common. So upgrade the next level, right? Upload the next level. Because how we can do this, how we can challenge those kids that they don't like to learn English, or they are not interested to get, involved in that group that they want to learn. Or how we can work with those kids who go to private schools, because I have some kids who live in rural areas and they go to an English class, they go to an English institute. So how could we engage those kids who know a lot of English to want to learn more, not just be the little helpers in the school, right? So A for all students, B for boost their skills, and C for create ways to make them learn. And this is kind of what I tried to do this year to help the students to learn. So for example, I have my ocean here because the teacher that I am working with, she picked with the students the subject about learning about the ocean. So yeah, it's a silly ocean like we can do for preschool. And you will say, what is she doing with that ocean behind? Well, with this ocean here, I can go from an early bird learning student to an advanced learning student. So my early birds will learn numbers, count the animals, how many animals we have. They will work in their colors, or they will work in the name of the animals. They are early beginners. They are just starting learning English, and they can say all these things. But in the same way, we can also work with advanced students. They can describe an animal, they can learn pronouns, personal pronouns, they can make verbs, they can do making sentences, and they will advance. And what about those who are really advanced? Well, we will boost their skill. How are we going to do that? Well, we are going to, at the end of the class, we will tell them, hey, tell me a story about your whale in the ocean or the dolphin in the ocean. What is the story what kind of day the dolphin has today, right? And in that way, I know I only have 11 students, so it's very easy. I know Jimena has tons of students in her class, and it's gonna be all the way difficult. But for example, this work for my group, there are just 11 kids, so I can work with all of them. I'm working in some lesson today, but then at the end, we can work from little to more with all the students. And this year in Uruguay was this thing about the ocean, and we used those videos that they post on media, and for my surprise, the kids didn't know about it. So it was so cool because they learn all about the ocean from these videos that they post on media about this program who go under the ocean. So we'll make it very easy for us to work with all these animals that in real life now, right? And for example, one of the challenges to boost their skills, I challenged them to make a haiku poem. A haiku poem is a kind of a Japanese poem who has 3 sentences, like 7 syllables, 5 syllables, and 7 syllables, which you say, oh, what is she doing, right? And I was thinking the same thing. I just left the challenge thinking no one is going to do it. And for the next class, all the kids had their haiku poem, and they're boosting their skills because they need to think not just the words, not just to make a sentence. The sentence needs to make sense, and it has to have 7 syllables, 5 syllables, 7 syllables. For example, one kid write in the sea, I see corals, and there are large shrimps. I may see blue fried fishes. So he made his little haiku poem, and it was very challenging for them, and they were very excited about it. I don't even ask them, oh, do you have your poems? They just remind me, hey, teacher, do you remember about the haiku poems? Because I didn't think any of the kids will make it. So for closing up, just remember the ABC. A for all students, B for booster skills, C for creating ways to make them learn. Because I believe we are all here for them to learn English. So just to finish, remember, all kids, I think we are all here to help all kids have same opportunities. Many kids from the rural areas, they don't have the private institute where they can go and learn English, but they have us to teach them English in a very professional way as much as we can. So all kids can learn, be their English institute, be their private class, be their extracurricular class where they can go and learn English, create their future, because we are creating their future when we help them to communicate well, in this case, in English.
Thank you very much, Marianela. That was really packed full, and I admire you so much for doing it so quickly. I don't think we have any questions right now, but I think that's a product of being the first speaker, and so we might have questions for you down the road or in the chat. Thank you for what you had to say about content-based approach, and your graphic organizer is wonderful, and also of your ABCs. And we'll move to the next speaker, Jimena, who is
Barbara.
Yes.
Mercedes needs to go second because her internet is not working very well.
Perfectly fine.
Thank you all.
Oh,
Thank you all for
Yes.
understanding. I'm a
Yes.
perfect example of something that happens often when doing the Zooms with rural schools. Yeah, so now only getting the garden. I don't know if you can see, but
To make her big screen now. I think we lost her for a minute.
Mercedes, we can't hear you.
I think she's not anymore in the call. Yes, she's, yeah, over there. Yes.
There she, okay.
Hello, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Shall I go on? Because I cannot see you. I only see Marianela for some reason. But okay. Just so as I say, I've been a godmother since 2020, among the first. So I'm happy to share my experience of 5 years with you. In this journey, my companion has been Mariana Castillo at the school Las Flores, in 30 kilometers from Carmelo in bucolic Colonia. She's a teacher. She's really a dedicated teacher with a vocation for rural schools. And she lives right there with her husband and her 2 children, her twin daughters, who were in the class until last year when they went on to high school. So she has a very strong link with the community. And she has made me part of that community, and we had worked that relationship in several ways. One is that there's a WhatsApp group of parents. So I joined that WhatsApp group and I sent them like a little video book about who I am, which was good also for children and parents, introducing myself, and then kept contact. Like if there's Christmas or Easter, I will post an e-card on the WhatsApp group, tell them when I do my radio programs, Mirando Africa in Perspectiva, and sending some little bits of information, not too much, but I do send some things. And then in the first Christmas, I asked the children, I sent them like a little video of my tiny Christmas decorations, and ask them to send them a picture of their tree and their Christmas. So they used the cell phone to film in their homes. So I went straight into their homes and I could see how they live, what is their environment. I could also see the levels of poverty that are common in rural Uruguay and others that were not. Because one interesting thing about rural schools is that you have the owner of the tambo and the workers at the tambo, the children of both, together in the same classroom until high school, which is what Jose Pedro Varela had, that was his vision. So in that way, through the Christmas, I went inside their homes and I saw them and they showed me their mascotas, their pets, their rooms, wherever. And then when I finally did my first visit, Mariana took me around the paraje, there's 12 houses, and introduced me to the grandparents, to elderly people who live alone because their adult children have left. So, and they had heard about the godmother who lives in Africa. So I was also part of that community, and they also participate, whether they have children or not in school, they all come to the school event. So that strong link to the school, to the parents and the community has been a plus. But like on the second or third meeting that we had on Zoom, I noticed that the children were seated at their desks, and that made for a very formal arrangement. And those who were in the back also sometimes could not hear. So I suggested to bring them to sit on the floor, like we do here in Africa all the time, sit on the floor and be close to the monitor, and have also the ability of standing up for singing, dancing, come close to the monitor to talk to me, and to put a rug in the winter because the tile floor is very cold. So Mariana, we tried it once or twice. Mariana said it really worked well. So she rearranged a bit the classroom so that we can use that format in our meetings, which is much less informal and I think it's much more active and interactive, and gives a space for them to stand up and dance, because we do a lot of movement and dancing, especially in the winter because it gets cold. So that flexibility was important. And also the other thing that I learned is that one needs flexibility because there's rain or a storm and the internet is down. There's rain and few children came because many come on foot or on a motorcycle, or some even came by horse. So it's not, there's only two, so Mariana would rather wait until there's more. There's a flu epidemic, there's something. So because I work from home, I am able to be flexible and say, okay, we can do it perhaps tomorrow or Friday, and have that flexibility. And also be flexible in the dynamic of the group, because every year or every 2 years, it can be very different. Like in the first one, there were mostly in older kids in the last years of primary school. And now this year, there's a lot of young ones, 4, 5, 6 years old. We call them Los Peques. So we do different sessions for Los Peques and Los Grandes. And Los Peques, because they're also the span of attention is quite short, the sessions are shorter, and there's a lot more of a sing-along and videos and dancing. And it's different than what I did in the first years, which was more according to curriculum. And then also Mariana has this system in which if she's doing something, let's say about biospheres or about animals, she in Spanish, she also brings it into the English. So then we will follow up on, like, let's say, well, this is I show videos of savannah or jungle or the bush or mountains from my environment, my daily life, my trips, my safaris. And so she joins that, both what she's doing in Spanish with the vocabulary in English. So those are the three things that I think, the three strategies that I think have helped us to evolve and grow together as a school, as companions, as teacher and godmother, and as a whole Escuela Las Flores over these 5 years. And as I said, one has to have flexibility to deal with issues like the internet failing. Thank you.
Mercedes, that was wonderful, and we are hoping to show your 1 minute video if we can pull that up. But as that's happening, want to say thank you for bringing all those approaches of your personal connection and reaching out to the community, as well as active learning strategies like the total physical response and singing and dancing, and especially what I think is really important about bringing those students close and having them away from their desk and sitting close to you. And if you'd like to say anything about your PowerPoint here.
Well, as you can see, it was something that it could be stopped, and then we ask questions like they could find where is Africa, where is Uruguay, what are jacarandas? There's white jacarandas. There's my daughter. I would stop it, and then they could ask me questions about her. The same for the animals. It's also a game. What are the names? And then they would shout it out, and then explain that those are orphan rhinos, and that are very tame, and you can get close to them. So it's like every opportunity is also for them to see something about Africa, different ways of living, and also to learn new words in English.
Thank you for all the visuals with that, as well as what you have said. And we know you might be zooming out. There haven't been any questions in the chat yet, but there probably will be later. Valentina has already told me that participation has been rising with this panel. So thank you so much. And Jimena, I am going to bring you into the show. Again, thank you for starting, but then stopping and allowing Mercedes to go. So we'll have our third panelist now. Jimena, who is broadcasting from Germany.
Good. Thank you very much. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. So I started with this program 3 years ago. I started only with one school in Riachuelo. And I did the same for the second year. But this year, they asked me if I can take another school. And I say, okay, yes. So I blocked my calendar because I can imagine that everyone has a crazy life. And I say, okay, I will dedicate 2 hours to bring back something to the kids. And suddenly I start contacting for so many teachers, you know, can I join one of your groups, you know, and I couldn't say no. So that is why I'm not crazy and I have 9 schools in these 2 hours. But the good thing is I have a good support from the teachers. And maybe you can already asking yourself how I am doing. I'm not a superwoman. I am a normal person. I am not a teacher. I'm so far away from being a teacher. Even when I was a child, I would like to be a teacher. So my background is in supply chain. I've never been having the possibility to teach to small kids. So I am a mother of 2 kids. It's not that I have plenty of kids at home. So I try to think how I can get their attention, you know. So I can share with you an anecdote. The first day I was preparing a PowerPoint presentation, like in my professional life. Of course, when I tried to upload, everyone was screwed because the internet was not working. I realized that I need to do different strategies, and that is why I start to create games. And I'm not creating, I'm trying to download from internet, you know. And this is what I'm using a lot: games, gaming, gamification. Kids loves, and you have the big challenge that you have kids from 4 years old that doesn't know how to read, from 12, you know. So how can you teach all of them in the most simple way? So that is why we are playing a lot bingo, and they love it. And we play memory. So I'm doing this kind of analogic way, you know. I put a whiteboard with all the things, so they practice the numbers, sometimes the colors, try to match, you know, the pairs, and we are playing a lot, and we are singing and we are dancing, and through the games we are learning things. I was so naive that I tried to teach them the verb to be, you know, but it was so abstract, the concept, that I lose all of them. So since that moment, I tried to put the verbs and the things, everything with games. And we play a lot. And the small kids learn how to play bingo, and they love it. They always ask me, and we play bingo for family, for school supplies, for clothes. You cannot imagine how many bingos we are playing. Of course, for the ones that are a little bit bigger, you know, I send some homework, you know, like they can do some more writings. So, and you can see, I try to put where I am, where they are, just to see how far away we are. I was the opportunity to visit some of the school, and it was super, you know, like a hard moment, because they were touching you like you are real, you know, you're not anymore in the screen. So, and they enjoy very much. I couldn't have the chance this year to visit the 9 school. I hope I can do it next year. But as you can see, we have a variety of kids from all the age, and also in some school we have only 1 kid, you know. And that was the last teacher and asked me, can I join? And I couldn't say no, you know. And for this kid, this is the amazing moment that he's connecting with other kids, he's playing, and the teacher is always writing me to thanks, because it's really making a different moment for him. How we are playing bingo, I sent the cards to the teachers, they print it, and I show, you know, the numbers, for the school supplies, as you can see in one of my pictures, I show, and they are just touching in the card. So I sent a lot of material, and the teachers printed for me, and that is why for me the support of the teacher is key. And I send it to them, and I share what are the things that I have for the bingo, and this is how we are playing. For the memory, we are doing in an analogic way, you know. I put it here, and they are telling me the numbers, so I show him, and this is the way that we are playing. Of course, having a lot of school, I cannot have this kind of intimacy with the kids that I was having before, you know. But for me, it's important that at least everyone can have the opportunity to learn simple things, okay? So we are learning numbers, family members, colors, seasons, the days of the week, the months, and with that playing and learning, and we are practice, and we are, you know, like doing one class regarding one topic, and in the second class I try to connect what we have been checking or doing the previous class, and with that we are advancing. I am traveling a lot, so I'm always sharing videos and pictures about the airport, the plane, and they love it. And they're asking me so many questions about how is to travel by plane. So the other day I was asking the pilot if I can take some pictures, and I was explaining, and they love it. And for me, it's like another way that they can learn how the world is, how big is the world. And also we try to put some things in English and in Spanish, okay? But it's a way to show them different countries in Europe that I'm traveling a lot. And this is also another opportunity to talk about, okay, which is the flag of this country? Do you know how many inhabitants has this country? What are the characteristics? And we are just learning small things, you know, but you know, it's nothing small in what we do. And this is why I joined the venture to have more classes this year, playing with them, showing a lot of videos. The way that I'm showing video is I have another iPad with me. So I put the iPad here like I'm doing right now, like with my hands, and they watch the video through the iPad, because every time that I try to upload the video, we were having a lot of internet connections or delays. So the best way for me is just to have another iPad, so I can put it here, they can see it, and we can play a lot also with the iPad that I'm having in my hands. And sometimes I'm writing. Now I have a whiteboard, so I'm doing more professional stuff every year, that I found that different things are helping me to teach the kids. And this is more or less my tips. As you can see, I'm not a teacher. I have a lot of passion doing this, because I think it's great that we can reach a lot of kids and telling them or teaching them small things. So for me, is keep it simple, play a lot with them, all the gamification things, they love it. And singing, dancing, and even maybe you think that 12 years old, they don't want to dance, they really enjoy it. Because it's something new. And also I am dancing with them, you know, and they're having a lot of fun. That they look at me dancing and singing for them. So, and at the end, you know, for them is a moment to be with someone that is so far away, they are seeing the TV. So I'm always having a lot of fun with them, and they give me back a lot of energy. So I hope those tips are good for you. And thank you very much.
Jimenez, thank you so much for reading the question in the chat of how do you play bingo, and maybe at some point you can write up a little bit more about that, because I really only think of bingo in terms of numbers, but you said animals and places and all kinds of things that you do bingo with. And I do want to disagree when you say you are not a teacher, because I see a lot of things in what you're doing with inventing and changing your style and modifying things that don't work are all things that good teachers do. So thank you for that very inspiring talk. And we have one last presentation from Mario. And I'll let you introduce yourself, Mario, because I'm really not sure where you are these days. And please take about 10 minutes, because we're excited to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Barbara. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure being with you today. I'm Mario Rivero. Currently, I'm in France, but I live in Canada. So I was spending most of this year on a transition way. I work for the British government in Canada. I'm the head of the Science and Technology Department for the UK Diplomatic Mission in Canada. And I've been doing this role with you for the last 5 years. So it's been quite encouraging for me to return back what I've been educated from primary school until university in the public school. So I wanted to return back to my country, to my peers, and give tools and wings to the next generation. So that's what I was enrolled in this fantastic program. As I said, I've been here for the last 5 years, initially in Cerro Largo, and then transferred to Florida, where the reality is a little bit like Jimena, not Jimena, Mercedes, sorry, where you have the dairy industry quite installed in Florida, and the students' reality could be different, and the reality is quite enrooted in the whole department. So we had initially 5 students, different ages, different learning needs, diversity. But then in 2024 and this year, in 2024, we had 2 kids, 2 students only. And then this year, we only have 1 student with the risk of shutting the university down, the school down. So we need to, as the rest of my peers here in this school, we need to adapt to the reality of what's going on with these time that we spend with them. I embrace the reality of giving them wings to reach other cultures or other places. Like, Jimena was telling, traveling. I do travel a lot, and I have the chance to go often to the UK and then show them, Parliament House and the Buckingham Harbour and so on. But then when you have only 1 student, you need to use different, it's difficult to me to say teaching rules. I don't want to take a profession that is not mine, but maybe what I say is motivating tools. How do you motivate 1 student to, not pay attention, but have them being engaged in the conversation beyond the language? So with the director of the school, which is also the teacher, she's the only one, like Marianela said. I mean, this partnership was key to embrace. And Santino's, his name, the only student that was in 2025, Santino Irasabal, a 10-year primary school student. So we had a frank conversation with Santino saying, okay, I would like to continue working with you 1 or 2 hours per week, but how we can work together in a way that you feel empowered, motivated, and also engaged. So we talk about his passions, and there were 2 that came as the top 2. One was dinosaurs, and the other one was astronomy. So I did a little bit of research. How do you work difficult topics? Because the language and the vocabulary is quite technical. But given his passion, he was already talking about, for example, I can't repeat the name of the dinosaurs, but he was talking about exoplanets and how many moons Saturn has and the like. So obviously for me was a driver of his passion was going to, for example, the NASA Kids Club, the European Space Agency, and the Canadian Space Agency, where all of the 3 have a devoted section for kids. One of them, we concentrated in the work that the European Space Agency was doing because of Santino's interest. He was particularly engaged on, for example, satellite imaging, where with his teacher, Belen, we thought that we can just match 2 realities. First of all was his interest for astronomy and the exoplanets. And the second was the reality we are all facing, in particular this new younger generation of climate change, nature anxiety, and the like. So we engage with the European Space Agency in what the activities they are doing, and they were, for example, they were using satellite imaging to track forest. So how, for example, Santino expressed his interest and ideas to embrace satellite images, and forest was drawing. So then we came with the idea on an opportunity, as a matter of fact, that the European Space Agency was calling for an international context of my life in 2050. So obviously with Belen, we asked Santino if he would like to submit his ideas, or just how he sees actually his life. Sorry, I think it was My Life in Mars 2025. No, My Life in 25. Thank you for showing that, because he knows so much about planets that he thought that he will live in Mars. Obviously, we are surrounded by the news, including a 10-year-old knowing already about spatial missions and the cosmos going to Mars. So if we can see, well, you can see him with a drawing. So you can see the drawing is at 2050, but it's difficult to see. But in every figure, there is a story about what he sees. For example, in the two, and this was with his own vocabulary. I didn't tell him what to do. My role was just to navigate how to apply it and the process. For example, with the two, and that shows us as well how just with a simple idea, you can enlighten, for example, his interest in nature and also concerns and how to address these or today's challenges. So the two was picturing how to protect nature. This zero was more about, and this is not me, even though I'm a scientist by training, but he, in the zero, he was writing how we need more support to science. Maybe he's a scientist himself already. The 5, he was picturing how to go to Mars. And the 0, incredibly nice, just to see how his knowledge and reading, it's about, for example, space debris, how, the satellites that will that are in the cosmos are debris, and it's kind of a spatial garbage. So for us humans in the Earth, he was picturing that we not only litter our Earth, we already littering the space that is not ours. The universe belongs to everyone, including other lives. So he was the winner. He was the #1 winner for this context that the European Space Agency launched in April. He's overwhelmed. Unfortunately, he was the oldest student. He moved on from that school, so he's now attending a different school. But the good news is that with that school, 85 has no resources whatsoever in terms of astronomy or books. But then, thanks to Laura and her colleagues, they donated a telescope, if I'm right, Laura. So there are more students that are interested in astronomy now and dinosaurs. They visited also the planetarium in Montevideo. So you can tell how a 10-year-old passion is infectious. So he's now talking about it, and it's different than I talk. I mean, I know nothing. He was the one talking about exoplanets and the moons and such, and how the gas that says, oh my God, this is a 10-year-old in rural Florida. Could you imagine if we could give him more resources for him to go out and about? So now we have amplifying that one kid, now it's more than 10. And then, yeah, I just wanted to share with you how one student could be our speaker and in their own voices, as he is now Infection is talking about his experience with the European Space Agency and drawing his concerns and solutions as well for this challenge that we all live. And I stop there as if anyone has any questions. Thank you.
Mario, that was a fascinating story, and I understand also how Santino's drive and enthusiasm also brought others into the realm of that passion. So his dreams got contagious. He spread his enthusiasm to others, and even, you know, to you and to Laura and me and many adults at the same time. So thank you very much. Laura, I would like to turn this to you for commentary at this point.
Thank you, Barbara. Well, I enjoyed every single word of these 4 godparents sharing experience. And I would like to focus the attention on some of the things that were said here. I love the ABC, all booster and creativity. Another idea that I think is really good is keep it simple, because in that way, we know that we can reach the students, but at the same time, help them to grow. What Mario was telling right now is a very good example of how keeping it simple and motivating students on their own, interests can lead them far away, because right now, as Mario said, we donated a telescope and we went with astronomy teacher. And during this session, 3 kids said they wanted to become astronauts. So it's fascinating how one kid can, spread this enthusiasm to all the other kids. Other thing that I think is really very important is this question of gamification. Kids love games. So using games in class let you get closer to them, to their interests, and convey meaning also. And there's another thing that is the movement in class, that question of not being just sitting watching the television and the godparents there talking, but getting them to move in the class, the seating arrangement, as Mercedes was talking about. So, I think that this is really very important for all the kids to feel comfortable and to feel that they are not just watching passively, but they are part of what is going on. So I think that providing content, as Marianela was saying at the beginning, and giving them the possibility of having multi-level approaches to the same content is a good way of dealing with all these classes, which are, multi-level, basically. And finding the right way for the kids you are dealing with. Not all the kids are alike. and not all the teachers. So we have to be very flexible, as it was saying, and try to adapt to what the school, the kids, and the teachers are. So thank you for all these material, all these experiences to all four. But perhaps there are questions from the audience.
Question within the chat.
Yeah,
Here.
do you-
So a dialogue between Mercedes and Ximena, maybe you want to share from there. Today earlier, Mercedes was saying, Ximena replied Mercedes that in order to play the bingo, you download the cards from internet, or you can create the different cards depending on the topics, and you can send it to the teacher. So the teacher will print. This is possible in our rural schools. And you just show them the different objects and they're making what they have. In the same way, you could play bingo. It's not clear, please give me a call and I can share more with you.
So thank you for having that in the chat. I also wanted to mention something that Marianela had said in a previous Zoom meeting we had, that she realized that her students liked English. They liked speaking English and they liked the persona of being in English. And I thought that was very important in terms of engaging the students. I can't thank the panelists enough as well. Piggybacking on what Laura said, you are the experts, and I am so happy that you have had a chance to share it with us, and it will be broadcast for others. I hope that this might be something that happens every couple of months with other godparents and their approaches, because I think it's very stimulating and gives everybody new ideas. I particularly want to thank the people in the background, Tina, Florencia, Monica, all of the tech people that have been helping out, and of course the support of Dr. Alder Rodriguez for this production and making this panel possible. So I think we'll sign off. Thank you for all from all around the world taking your time. And I'd like to know what time it is in your country right now. Ximena?
Almost 5 o'clock.
Almost 5 o'clock. Mario?
Well, I am the same time zone as Ximena, so almost 5 o'clock. It's 3 to 5. Yep.
Mercedes?
It's 3 to 5 in the southern tip of the African continent in Cape Town. But very close to, but very near Uruguay, just across the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah. And Marianela? Okay. Well, thank you again, and we'll sign off.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for convening.
Pray for your
Bye
picture.
now.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye.
Right.
More on.